If your hair, if it's overcome with single strand knots, it refuses to retain moisture, it just won't cooperate, definitely try this. I should make a whole nother video about that, but basically winter 2019, I had like a natural hair disaster. I should just make a whole story about that. Then I decided that I wanted to switch things up. I started to do wash and goes in the winter. The entire halfway point of my hair down turned into a Brillo soap pad. I'm not kidding. Everyone's like, oh, I love your hair. Was it worth it? No. Basically, my natural hair disaster of winter 2019 was that my life was basically just getting on the bus and commuting to college every single day and like 5 days a week. That's a whole nother story. I literally woke up at like 5 a.m. and got back home at like 3 p.m. So, and then I had to do homework, blah, blah, do all my work. So basically, I didn't have much time to be doing natural hair guru activities. So I just left my hair in a high bun, literally probably 24/7. So that isn't why my hair got messed up. So I was doing that. But then I decided that I wanted to switch things up. And nothing against this product because this is actually a good product, but the Texture ID, just like the basic Texture ID styling cream, like the one that comes in the blue and white jar, like it looks like this jar, but it's just blue and white. I started to use that, and don't ask me why I would ever do this, but I started to do wash and goes in the winter while the air was dry, the weather was cold, and I was on the bus with a wash and go and a low ponytail. And as you can imagine, the bus seats were like, if you've ever gone on a school field trip, like that is the bus, like that's the kind of bus that it was. So it's like those coach buses. So the seats are like cloth, like that weird cloth, like movie theater seat kind of material. So, and that's a whole thing, but like if you have natural hair and you've been to the movie theater and you lean back, or just like cloth car seats, but like, and you go forward and your hair, you can just hear your hair snapping. That is basically the seats that were on the bus. So I would wear my hair in a low ponytail and then have it, like it was probably still wet because it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, so I don't have time for it to dry. And I just decided, let me stop wearing sweatpants and a high bun every day. Like, let me switch it up. Let me do a wash and go. And of course, everyone's like, oh, I love your hair. And I'm like all complimented and flattered. But was it worth it? No. Because after doing this for probably like a month of like December 2019, my hair had enough, and my literally the entire bottom half, so literally like if I halved my hair right here and put it in a half up, half down step, the entire halfway point of my hair down turned into a Brillo soap pad. I'm not kidding. I was in the shower freaking out because the first time I noticed this, so I was just washing my hair, minding my own business, and then my hair on the lower half of both sides was just had like trillions of single strand knots. Single strand knots, split ends. So let's pretend you washed your hair and you didn't even wash out completely the conditioner, and then you decide to straighten your hair. And also you have a bunch of split ends and your hair isn't even fully dried, and then you start flat ironing. Like, and then you touch your hair and it's like, it feels like there's like spikes. Like your hair looks straight, but if you touch it, it feels like there's spikes. Like you'll literally flatten the hair up and it will be spiky down the supposedly supposed to be smooth hair. Comment if you know what I'm talking about with that, when if you've ever straightened your hair in the wrong way. But that is what my hair felt like in the back. Because the thing about that product is that it's very, very defining. So your curls are like extremely defined if you use that product. Well, at least for me. So my hair was so defined. Oh, and I forgot the whole Kickstarter of this whole natural hair disaster is that I'll try to include pictures, but basically I've talked about this in my worst natural hair mistakes video, which is like one of my first videos. I had so much heat damage when I was younger. Like high school, my hair was literally just the most heat damaged hair on the planet. But so the ends of my hair were just like, I just had like straight ends basically. And then I started actually taking care of my natural hair, and then I was basically like transitioning because I grew out my hair really long. So then it was pretty much like, well, it was like half the length as it is right now, but it was just pretend my hair is curly, blah, blah. And then, which I still have heat damage, as you can see. Like the heat damage is like, hi. But like here, you can see I have heat damage right here where the curl like gets crazy. But it was literally like my hair was like this at the ends. Like it would just be curly and then the ends were just straight. So my hair was like that up until like November 2019. And then I decided, let me have fully curly hair, which like everyone on YouTube tells you transition, and then cut off the ends, which is important. But what they don't tell you is that if you cut off your straight ends, you will have completely different hair. Like it's gonna be a whole new ball game with your hair once you cut off the straight ends. Because my hair, I cut off like an inch of my straight ends around all of my hair, and the ends were just like complete, just like spiral curls. And I was like, wow, I never knew my hair was this curly. My mistake was that I started doing wash and goes because my hair was so curly and I was so proud of it. And people that I've known for like my entire life were literally asking me if I had like a curly ponytail on because my hair was that curly, and it was like 2 days ago, it was like straight ends. But then all of a sudden it was just like so curly at the ends. It looked like, if you've ever done dance competitions, then you're familiar with the curly ponytail extension. That's what people thought that I had in my hair. I was so like touched by the compliments that I kept wearing my hair like that in the low curly ponytail. My hair was like, wow, we've never been curly on the ends. So let's just curl into a single strand knot, but on every single area on the bottom half. And also this is wintertime, so of course then I'm wearing like scarves and coats with the fur on the hood, and it's all just rubbing against the curly ponytail, just rubbing against the wash and go. And basically all that led up to my hair becoming a Brillo soap pad. And then that one day in the shower when I finally realized what was really happening and I had no idea what to do, I'm like, my hair is finally to a place where I want it to be. And now it's all going to break off because of all these split ends and all these single strand knots, just because I wanted my hair to look like a dance competition curly ponytail extension. But then basically as I'm freaking out in the shower, then I am just, my mind is just like, I don't know what to do. So then I get out of the shower, I get olive oil, and my hair's wet. And then I kind of dry it off. I just put olive oil all over my hair because at this point, I'm just trying to think of anything that I've ever done in the past that has helped my hair. So I douse my hair completely in olive oil. I literally smell like a salad. And I get a plastic bag. I think that this is the thing. Don't ever do this, because I would not recommend sleeping with something on your hair under a plastic bag, because even though people always like deep conditioner. People always like deep condition their hair with a plastic bag overnight, or like leave in a treatment overnight under a plastic bag. I would not do that because that just doesn't seem very sanitary in hindsight. But I didn't know any better. Well, no, I probably should have known better. So I slept with the olive oil on my hair overnight, and it did really help. But the front of my hair, because the way that I did the ponytail, the front of my hair wasn't really damaged at all. It was just only the bottom, the back, like bottom of my hair. Because I have one of my, I think it's like my first TikTok video, but like all I do, I don't have a scrunchie. But literally all I do is put my hair like this and put the scrunchie on my hair. And then it just puts it into a low ponytail. So because I was doing it like that, like the ends of the front are like completely tucked by the scrunchie. So they're just like the whole like portion of the front of my hair was completely tucked away. So nothing bad happened to the front. It was just the back. Because then the back was completely exposed in the ponytail. And then it was just rubbing against all the scarves and coats and bus seats and everything. So when I did the olive oil, then the front of my hair like really got like really treated by the olive oil. So I'm like, okay, the olive oil is working, but it's not getting rid of my just extremely damaged hair. Like, how do I fix this? And everyone will tell you that there's no way to get rid of hair like that, like single strand knot, split ends. You just have to cut it off. But this whole story is full circle back to this deep conditioner, because this is what, like, I literally tried the olive oil. I could tell it was working on the front, but not the back. It wasn't getting rid of that chemical reaction on the back of my head. Well, it wasn't a chemical reaction, it was a physical reaction, but this isn't a chemistry video. I probably tried other things like homemade remedies, but nothing was working. And then my sister had like a little bit of this left and a little bit of the Shea Moisture Jamaican Black Castor Oil deep conditioner. And I used the Jamaican Black Castor Oil one once, and my hair was like 80% better than it was before I used it. And I was like, there's actually a way to un-Brillo soap pad my hair. And then I tried this, and literally, I don't know how this worked. It wasn't better than when I started, but it was back to like how it should have been. And then basically the way that I got my hair to where it is now, where my hair is still alive and well in the back, and I didn't have to cut off the entire back portion of my hair, is I used the Shea Moisture Jamaican Black Castor Oil leave-in. Like, that was like the only product that I would use. And then I would deep condition with Jamaican Black Castor Oil deep conditioner from Shea Moisture. And then I would just use those two products. So I saw a video of Half Freaking Beauty using the Shea Moisture Jamaican Black Castor Oil leave-in and putting it all over her hair and detangling, and then doing a low heat blowout. And I never realized that on the jar it says that it can be used for heat styles. So it can actually be used when you heat style your hair. So I used that, and I used like a heat protectant. And I would do like a low heat blowout for, I think, like the entire like January and February then. And I can also insert a picture of my hair with the blowout. And I wasn't heat damaging my hair because I was using like such low heat that it wasn't heat damaging it. And I just kept using those two products and then doing a low heat blowout. And every time I would wash my hair, so I started washing my hair like once a week. So every time I would wash my hair, then I would like, I don't think that anyone recommends this, but this is just what I did. So I would cut out the single strand knots while I was in the shower, because my hair is like the curliest when it's wet. And I didn't want to just cut off like a straight line of my hair. I just wanted to only cut out the single strand knots. So I would literally just be in the shower. I would condition my hair, and then it would be like the spiral curls at the ends. And then I would feel wherever the single strand knot was. And then I would just cut it off. And then I did that for a couple months. And then the quarantine. And then I would just wear my hair in like 4 braids like the entire quarantine because I had nowhere to go. And then it was summer, and if you have natural hair and your hair has ever just grown like 6 inches in the summertime, basically that happened to me. Now, here we are today. The moral of the story is that don't wear wash and goes in the wintertime under any circumstance. And I don't care how much people are complimenting your wash and go and how much they think it's not even your real hair. Just don't wear wash and goes in the winter. And the annoying thing about that is that my wash and goes only look that curly in the winter. I think it has to do with the humidity, because where I live, the humidity index is like extremely high. So no matter what I do to my hair in the summertime, it always looks like, well, basically it looks like this. I don't really know why my hair is like acting brand new today. But yeah, basically usually in the wintertime, my hair will be like extremely defined and it will be extremely curly at the ends. And even if you really like your hair like that, in the long run, if you don't want your hair to be a Brillo soap pad, please do not do that. Please stick to the twist outs, the braid outs, the protective styles, the leaving your hair in a bun. But yeah, my hair was a lot better off when I just left my hair alone. And because it was so messed up, that's why I had to start wearing my hair in the low heat blowouts and leaving it in a bun, because I had to keep my hair as stretched as possible, which is why I did the blowout. And I had to keep my hair stretched because I couldn't afford any more single strand knots, because that was all the single strand knots I could handle. So I just left my hair stretched all the time until I was able to get rid of all the single strand knots. Then I just left my hair in braids like the whole quarantine, but I would redo them every week and a half. And then the summertime, and that's when I started my channel this past summer. So then you guys already know what happened from August on, because it's all on my channel. That was a long story as a way to say that if your hair is just making your life as difficult as possible, just try these deep conditioners by Shea Moisture. If it doesn't work, just try as many deep conditioners as possible, because deep conditioning will save your hair. And it's not a hoax. Deep conditioning actually matters, and yeah.